Are we on? Who did an open house this weekend? How were they?
Saturday to Friday, I had 4 couples.
You had 4 couples? Jillian and I split our open house on Saturday and Sunday. And something I think you and I have both come to understand, that community loves to gather.
So nosy.
Oh my God, on my day, my broker's open, I had like 3 or 4 neighbors come through. Big deal. Saturday, I'm sitting there for about an hour with nobody. I mean, it was silent, nothing, right? I was almost like going out and I'm looking at the street, like making sure my signs are up, right? And we've all done that, and if you haven't, you should. So Saturday, it's like 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock rather, and I get this rush of people, and no fewer, honestly, than 16 or 17 people came. All right, and they're all like jabbering and asking questions and looking at things and opening drawers and cabinets and I'm like, who are you? Where are you from? How'd you hear about us? Right, and I'm asking all my questions, and I'm like, wait, stop, and I'm starting to realize like these are all neighbors, right? But what is the one thing? And here's the best thing about nosy neighbors. What are nosy neighbors?
They spread the word.
They spread the word.
Yeah.
Okay, they're interested in their complex. They want to know what's going on. This place has been under renovation for 7 months. Okay? It's finally open. Now people are looking out the window like, let me go down and take a look at that, right? Oh, and I see rods over there, so I'll go over and say hello to this one. And then they're all walking through, and then they're talking about it like, hey, Martin, did you see this? And then they're sending people to different areas. Oh, no, I didn't notice that. So I thought I got like, right? And on top of that, I actually picked up a pretty good buyer, which is kind of cool. And so I thought I got the bulk of that. And I'm driving home yesterday from rehearsal, and my wife yelled at me the other day. Like, reprimanded me pretty good for reading texts at lights. I'm not allowed to read my phone anymore when I'm in the car. She's like, wagged the finger, the whole thing. So I have my drummer in the seat next to me. And I'm driving, I'm listening to my wife, she's somewhere in my head, and these texts are popping off, right? And I turned to my drummer, I said, hey, do me a favor, read those texts to me, right? So he picks them up and he starts flipping through and he's reading them to me. And he says, this Jillian girl, she's really positive. I said, yeah, she's a good egg. He's like, no, man, I like her a lot, okay? And he's reading all your texts, and it's a kudos to you, all right? But no, first he opens them and goes, whoa, right? I'm like, yeah, some people like, but he starts reading, he's like, wow, you know what? He's like, she could have done this a million different ways. And she approached it from a positive stand, told you everything that was going on, and he dissected it. Now, here's the thing. He's the vice president of marketing for Red Bull. Okay, and was reading one of the texts from one of our agents, Jillian, and was impressed by it. So good for you, okay? And that's something to know. I mean, this is what he deals with all day long. Millennials at Red Bull, right? Talking about these things, and he's like, I wish my agents, my people got back to me in detail like this and weren't so negative, okay? With anything. Oh my God, all it was neighbors coming through. And he's like, look at this. She gave you little emojis to make sure, you knew it was a good thing. He's like, I like this, But now you got a bunch of neighbors through, like a whole nother set. And I would bet that some of the same neighbors came through. And I already know there's like 2 or 3 neighbors that every time I'm there are going to pop in and be like, hey, right? But those are the ones that are sharing with other people. Right, and that's what you want. You want neighbors talking about their community, especially when it's such a tight-knit community like that. Now, you had an open house, you said it didn't do too well?
No. Saturday, I had one neighbor come through who just bought a place in the same complex a month ago. They just wanted to see what it looked like.
Okay.
And then 2 other people who had their agents, I got the agent contacts, and then one other person who didn't leave me their contact. That was Saturday. And then Sunday, one person came through and she was in and out in 2 minutes. She didn't like it.
Okay. You had an open house?
Yep.
How'd you do?
Pretty slow. First day had a neighbor, and one other person that didn't leave any information. Sunday had another neighbor, actually two neighbors. It came in like at 3:59.
Okay.
That's it.
Sherry had an open house and was sabotaged. Ooh. Okay. Let's hear about that.
Well, I had no visitors, and when I went to go and pick up my signs, another agent from a different company on the main street moved my sign, laid it up against the wall, and put his sign where my sign was at. And I walked down to where my other sign was, and he had turned. Well, I'm assuming it's a he, and I'm assuming.
Of course, man hater. Go on.
And it was moved, so instead of pointing towards my open house, it was pointing towards his open house.
Ooh. Everybody together. Ooh. Okay. Is it going to happen? Absolutely. All right. This is why. Now remember what I said. If you're not getting any visitors,
Something's wrong.
folks, you got nothing better to do, and I'm not telling you, but go out, take a look, check your signs. Maybe they blew down, maybe they were moved, maybe they were changed around. I did a property in Ventura last year, and I had an agent. He kept throwing my signs in the middle of Ventura Boulevard, and yeah. Oh, yeah. And if anybody borrows my signs, I still have one, and it's got tire marks right across the front, okay? That's the only one that actually survived Ventura Boulevard, okay? But others, I would walk out, and they would be like all over the place, be like picking up pieces, right? Because you don't want all of a sudden you jammed in a Jaguar or something where they call you up, like, yeah, I got a piece of your sign, and now you owe me, all right? But do agents move signs? Yes, okay? How do we police it? We go out, we move them back. Do you move theirs? No. Okay, do you want to?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. But we play fair, okay? When somebody is moving signs or putting signs down or laying them over, what is it? It's a sign of aggression, but what is it mostly?
Desperation.
It's a sign of desperation, that they're failing, and or better yet, they don't want you to succeed. Okay, very quickly, a candle doesn't give off any more energy lighting another candle. Okay, so when you share things with people, you're not taking away from you, you're simply adding to others. Okay, when people try to blow out your flame, the best thing you can do is turn around and burn them. And how do you burn them? You get your property in escrow. Okay, we could stomp our feet and be like, oh my God, I'm so mad. Okay, hold that, nestle it, be comfortable with it, then throw it on the ground, kick it to the side, and move on. Because the most important thing in our world is what we have control over, not what we don't have. Oh my God, look who comes walking in from vacation. Welcome back, young lady. We had another open house. Omar, how'd you do?
Yeah. I don't know if it's slow or good enough. I have 7 visitors, group of visitors,
Okay.
couples, and like there's a group of, it's like they're having educational tour. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's our job?
They come in a group,
Okay.
and I don't understand what they're talking, what they're saying. They're speaking in Chinese.
Okay. Okay.
And there's mostly only one came there with from outside the neighborhood.
Okay.
And he's from another. He just see our sign, just besides the sign of another open house.
Okay.
Outside the gate.
Great.
Yeah, and I think it's a positive. That's the positive one because
Good.
he's from a
Good.
different place. Yeah.
So you got to follow up with them, get their information.
Yeah.
Now here's another key. At 4:15 or 4:30, did you follow up with the agent that allowed you to hold their house open with an informative text that told them what happened and what you were going to do moving forward? Okay, I got 3 people through. I'm going to follow up with them on Monday. Thank you so much. If by chance you have this property being held open next week, may I hold it open? This week I plan to, and then you give a list of what you're doing. Okay, Sherry called me on Friday and said, can I hold your property open next weekend? I said, yes, most likely. We're staging it. We got to make sure it's open now. It's ready to go. So just in a weird state right now. You and I need to talk after this. But she sent me a copy of a postcard, a mailer, and information that she's sending out to the area to promote the open house. All right? It's going to look amazing. It is going to look amazing. We're with stops on. It's going to be very much like Calle Mayor, fully staged. The owner is flying in from Ohio tonight to oversee the staging. Okay? That's an engaged owner. Some people are like, oh no. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I called the owner. I said, great. Take you out to dinner when you get here. We'll spend a couple days together. We'll go through all the staging. You can come to my show on Friday night. It's like, oh my God, I'd love to. Right? But the idea is get them involved. Don't be afraid of dealing with your owner on these things. It's their house. Right? We're only visitors. Okay? So it's really important that they get involved. And when I called her this morning, she says, are you calling me with an offer? I said, no, I'm calling you with the final numbers for staging. And she says, okay, that's okay. I said, but I love your attitude. She goes, look, you don't get anything you don't expect. She says, every time the phone rings, I expect you to call me with an offer. Whatever you're calling me with, I'm open to the information, but I really want an offer. I'm like, great. Okay. Did you do an open house this weekend? What'd you do?
Ralston.
How'd you do?
It wasn't that great.
Why not?
Just the people coming by, most of them not willing to give their information, and if they do, they only write like their name and where they live, but no phone number, no email. And it's crazy because I have these full-on conversations asking the correct questions, and
You know what my next question is going to be, but go on.
they're open to, answer all my questions and willing to have me help them, blah, blah, blah. And they just didn't write their information. So I'm like, okay,
Okay.
confused.
Go on.
And then I got some other people just coming in curious, way out of their price range. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. Number one, what system are we using to collect information?
I have a book.
Okay. There's your number one issue. Okay, that's your number one issue. And the reason for it is a book lets people know who came before, what they wrote. They're going to copy exactly that,
Well, mine
and it's
was
not
like-
setting up expectations. But also a book is just something that people aren't used to. It's old school. All right, you got to get Open Home Pro. All right, invest in an iPad, step up, get yourself into the 20th century, that when you sit down and talk to somebody, you have the iPad in front of you. And you say, oh, by the way, what's your name? Email address? Okay, and you're asking questions like that, not handing them a pen and paper and saying, fill this out. Okay, because if somebody asks me to fill something out, I fill out as little as humanly possible. It's human nature.
But
Okay.
a lot of people, they say, well, we don't want to be bothered by calling us. They don't want to leave a phone number, so they won't be bothered.
Don't worry, I'm not going to call you. At the end of the day today, I'm going to email you a copy of the listing that you came to, just so you get the information. Yes, ma'am.
Does Open Home Pro have you can't click next unless you do required fields? Do you have required?
You can put together 2 required fields, but they can always skip through them. And that's why I hold it. I fill it in for people. Because number one, what's the best way to remember somebody's name? Write it down. Okay? And then as soon as I fill it in, I go to agency notes, I click in, and I type a quick note as how I'm going to remember who this person is. Okay? Neighbor, nosy neighbor, crazy neighbor. Okay, neighbor with 6 kids, I can't believe they brought them all to the house. Okay, and you can write all your own notes. They're never going to see them, but you can never do that in a notebook setting. And if somebody, and I've seen plenty of people look at notebooks and they flip back a couple pages to see what's going on. A lot of people don't have their information in an open forum, but they're used to filling out forms online. right? And what you have to do is cater to what people are used to doing, okay? Anyone who sits and goes, well, I don't have the money for an iPad. Folks, it's $500, okay? It's $500. Yes?
I got one, you can get them online refurbished for like $88.
$88, okay? You don't need a top-of-the-line iPad. You don't need a big one. Mine's got a big crack in it, all right? Why? Because I dropped it, all right? You don't want the one that you're using at home to like all your personal information, is that's the one you're handing people, okay? And a couple weeks ago, I was at a restaurant that actually did iPad service, and they had this cool hand piece where it actually slips right onto their hand, so they can't drop it. So it's like, and that's what I use. So I have it on the table, right? It's flipping through all the properties as it's going. And then when someone comes in, I'm having a conversation with them. I say, oh, by the way, I walk over, I pick it up, I slip it on my hand, I said, we're green, so I don't have flyers here today, but just give me your information. I'll put it in, I'll email you a flyer. What happens if they say I don't want to give you your information?
And there would have been no point in giving them.
They didn't want to buy the house anyway, then get out, okay? Move on, okay? And let me go find somebody who does, all right? If they don't want to give you the information, grabbing them by the ankles and shaking it out of them really isn't worth your time, okay? What's your name? I don't want to give you that. What's your email address? I'd rather you not contact me. What's your phone number? I don't want to give you that. Want to buy this house? Oh yeah, I'm going to pay cash for it. Is that really going to happen? We're in?
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but you asked me to tell you when we got the acceptance.
We're in? Escrow open. Go get another. Okay, so Medi and I, we got it through. So the idea, though, is you want people to give you information who want your information, okay? Now, I used to say, look, you can't come in my house unless you give me all your information. I want name, address, phone number, email address, or you can't step across the threshold, all right? Sometimes you want to do that, right? If I'm in a vacant house, I'm not as guarding over my territory as I am if I'm in a fully occupied home with children in the house. Okay, and understand what you're up against. A vacant house, what are they going to steal? A lamp from the stager? Okay. I don't know, Debbie, it wasn't there when I got here. But in the same right, you need to make sure you're coming through the house. And when you're dealing with an occupied home, that could be one of your things. Look, I just need to have record of everybody who comes through the home. Well, I don't want to give you that.
I had somebody walk out once, and I was like,
Fine.
"Okay."
Can you reserve the right to allow somebody to enter your home? Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, folks, again, we're going to get off open houses in a second. I don't know if you saw online yesterday, but a agent, I forget what state it was in, shot an open house guy because he came in and sprayed her in the face with bear repellent. Okay? So she took a gun out and shot him.
Oh, yeah.
But hey, okay, folks, would you, and I ask this question all the time, would you tomorrow or this Saturday sit in your living room with your front door open and put out 12 signs around the neighborhood and sit in your living room and watch TV? And when people came in, be like, hey, how you doing? Take a look around. Let me know if you're interested. Would you? That's what we're doing on open houses. Okay, that is exactly what we're doing with open houses. It's just not your living room. Okay, but chances are you don't live in a $2.5 million home. And if you do, good for you. Or maybe $1 million home. But we're sitting in these massive homes, fully vacant, no one's home, no one's been there in an hour. And we're like, oh, I just hope somebody comes through. And then when they come through, we're not engaging them. And we're letting them kind of just put. Imagine somebody walking into your home and be like, thanks, I got it. I'm going to take a look around. Leave, I don't want to talk to you. And you're like, great, appreciate you coming by. You know what, can you vacuum while you're here too? You know, it's not going to happen. So understand, engage people, and the way you engage them is the way they're used to engaging, online. Okay? I will push this iPad thing until I'm blue in the face. Every night when you come home and you start getting those emails, a lead opened your email. A lead opened your email. A lead opened your email. And then this morning, you get an email, your CSV file that says, here are all the leads from your open house this weekend. And you can grab that, pull it out, client desk, and now you have people to call tonight or email. All right, right now, Sierra's the big story in the office. She came into my office one night, she's like, they didn't give me the phone number. I said, then email them. Right? Walks away, she emails them 3 times. They called her back 3 weeks later and said, we'd like to buy this $1.5 million home. Can you help us? 28 days later, she's $30,000 richer. They didn't give her a phone number. What if they don't give me an email but give me a phone number? What do? You call. Somehow, some way you contact them. If all they do is give you their mailing address, what do? Send them a postcard.
What if they're renting?
Send them a letter. Doesn't matter. If they give you an address, send it. Find issues and you'll find solutions. All right? Look for solutions. Don't look for issues. Yes?
So if they give you an email and you send them, like, you keep sending them email, but they don't respond, like 2 or 3 times, 4 times, so what do you do?
2 or 3 times and they don't respond?
Yes, so what?
Oh my God, send them 100 times.
100 times.
And then when they send you back an email and says, take me off your list or I'm having you incarcerated for, sending me too many emails, that's when you go, maybe I should just send one more and check, make sure they meant me, okay? Absolutely, absolutely. I have called a client for 7 years. 7 years. I called this guy. Okay? I sold him a house. He lives in Hermosa Beach. We're neighbors. 7 years I call this man. Okay? I send him every year I do a big fundraiser. I send him 4 tickets and reserve him a table. Okay, I email him updates. Nothing. Nothing. Okay? About 2 months ago, I'm sitting in an open house and my phone rings and it's him. Somebody was with me when I got that phone call. I forget who it was. I answer the phone and say, hey, Rich, what's going on? Hey, man, I owe you an apology. I've been ignoring you for the past few years. I'm like, no apologies necessary. It's my job to keep in touch with you. And he starts laughing. He's like, I love that about you, man. You stay positive about everything. He says, look, I'm getting married. Looks like October. Once we're married, I'm going to want to sell the house you sold me. You think we can get 1.7 for it? I'm like, yeah, probably. I said, we'll have to talk about that. He says, okay, great, because my budget really has changed quite a bit, and I think we're looking more at about $4 million. Are you cool with that? What if I didn't call him? What if I didn't continue to send him texts and emails? And this is a single guy, all right, who lives in Hermosa Beach on a walk street. You think he met a realtor or 2 in the past 7 years?
Is that front seat open? Yeah.
Yeah.
Go right there in front. That's where you need to be.
Come on up front.
Member of the team, Veronica.
Welcome, Veronica.
Yay.
You think if I just sent him an email and he didn't respond, you know how much money it cost me to send him all those tickets and reserve tables that I would look out in this crowd and see an empty table? All right, the table cost me $150 a year. And I'd reserve it. And every year my hostess would say, what about that table? I'm like, if he comes, it's got to be there. Okay? And then halfway through the show, I'll say, okay, now you can give it away. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to piggyback off what Olivia said. I have this tracker where I can see if they opened it or not.
Okay.
So we've been sending emails to our buyer, maybe like 10. Haven't opened any of them.
Okay.
So what do you do at that point?
Change the subject line.
I do, every time.
Make it more interesting.
I'm assuming it's like a fake email.
I'd keep sending it. Does it cost you a dime to send an email?
No.
No. Send it.
I have
Just
one more question.
be relentless. Folks, be relentless. This business, you get paid for being a relentless, follow-up, money-generating. And Richard, when he called me back, he's like, dude, you're like a machine. Like, I am, right? But why? Because when do I make money? On the response. All right, I am following up, I am sending information out to people all day, every day, looking for one response. Because the response is where it's at. And it's funny because you send all this stuff out and then all of a sudden somebody's, and you're like, oh my God, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible. And then somebody responds, you're like, this is awesome, right? And it changes in a minute. And that's our job, to change our positioning in a minute. All right, yes ma'am.
I did an open house this weekend.
Oh, I didn't realize that. What'd you do?
I do. And it was boring again. There's only 3 people. One group I invited as an investment possible.
Okay.
But one lady came through, was excited, and forgot her phone. I took pictures for her and texted them to her. She drove around to the back of the property, looked at the back. Neighbors, and I got a text from her that said, well, I'm glad I met the neighbors. I hate cigarettes.
Oh, yeah, well,
So,
you know what?
that's a deal breaker, but the point of my story is that that would have been the end of it. I would have followed up and stuff like that, but I would have thought, well, she didn't want it done, doesn't want it. But I convinced her to take my app, the new WSR app. I told her about Zillow, how sucky Zillow.
Oh, I should have you up in here. Amir would love this. We got an app commercial going on here. Go on.
So I told her about Zillow.
I'm listening.
About Zillow. They're good and out of the United States and blah blah blah. And how we don't sell our stuff and that it's real time, And so she took the app. I put it on her phone for her, and I can see what she's looking now. I know that she's actually engaging, and she just sent me a thing on a property that she wants me to look into, and then I'm also going to take her to others. So.
Great. How good does that feel?
I'm not going to give up on her as much as I would because I'm just like this young lady. I don't want to keep hounding and beating a dead horse.
You're not. You're not. Here's the thing. When you're following up with somebody, until they tell you to stop, you're keeping in touch. The minute you're giving them space, you're ignoring them. Okay? And here's what happens. Somebody says, oh, I've been receiving emails from Olivia for 6 months. I haven't been ready. But I'm ready now, and she hasn't sent me an email in like a month. She must have lost interest in me. And then somebody cold calls them and says, would you like to buy a house? And I'm like, yeah, I've been working with an agent, but I haven't heard from them in 6 weeks. So yes, you're my guy. And Martin walks away and goes, yeah, I cold called last night. I used my script, and I picked up a sale in an 8-minute phone call that Olivia's been working 6 months on. Do you see how that works? People only respond when what? They're interested. Okay, so you just keep going out and getting in touch with people. Bottom line is nobody walks into an open house not interested in real estate. Okay? They may not be interested right now. All right, when I say change your subject line, change it to something interesting. I mean, and I know everybody changes, but got to see this house, brand new, hidden Hermosa gem, whatever you want to do, but see what works. Every now and again you write something up and you're like, oh, I like that subject line. Keep it. But even more so, if you're just creating email after email after email, as opposed to creating a drip system within LionDesk and making it an automatic. Like, I probably have 500 emails going out a week or at least a month, automatic, that I don't even know. All right, that are just constantly going out. And if somebody calls me on that, great. Right? It's an automatic. It's just happening. All right, and that's our business. It's got to be automated, plus what we're doing. Okay, emails are free, folks. They are free. The only thing it takes is time. Okay, last night you guys all got an email from me, message from your mentor, right? It took me 40 minutes to write that. The only thing it cost me was time. 40 minutes. Probably 25. right? The other 15 was me getting up and doing other stuff in the middle of it. But the bottom line is, and I see who opens them, by the way. I know if you're reading my emails. But I'd urge you all to read them. Make sure I get your information so it's on that. But the idea behind that stuff is it's so easy to get that information out and share this information with people. Are you doing it? And even more so, are you doing it automatically? Right? I know every Sunday night, I either have to have it done or 8 o'clock at night on Sunday, I'm writing this letter. So I'm either doing it early or I'm doing it Sunday at 8 o'clock. That's when my alarm goes off. All right, no matter what I'm doing, Sunday at 8 o'clock, that alarm goes off. I either go, you already sent it, or, shoot, let me go do this, right? And you sit down and start typing it out. Over the next week in the Facebook check-ins, we're going to be talking about time management, all right? Because time management is vital. And I came up with this the other day, and then this morning, one of my coaches brought up time management to me. I opened up Facebook, and a friend of mine posted a time management meme. All right, what are you going to do? You know, today is the first day of the next 7 days of your life. What are you going to do with them? And then I was watching a YouTube video this morning getting ready, and Ryan Serhan did a whole presentation on what do you do with the 1,400 minutes in your day. Well, I can tell you at least 400 minutes of them are spent doing what? Sleeping. That gives you 1,000 minutes. What do you do with that? Okay, you're going to spend 120 with me. Out of 180 left, and then you all should spend another 120 tonight at Phone Clinic. All right, that'd be 240 minutes committed to your business out of 1,000 waking moments. That's not even 20%, 25% of your time that you're awake spending on your business. And if I ask most people how much time they spend on their business, what do you think the number one answer is? 50 or 60% of my time. Right? Because that's what we envision. But when you start scheduling it and start seeing it happen, you start realizing how much you're doing and how much you're not doing. And by scheduling, what's really cool in scheduling is, and Martin, you can attest this, I'm sure, Lisa and Jillian as well. When you schedule your time, what happens to your time? It increases. You get more of it. All right, when I say I'm going to do this for 2 hours, then I'm done. All of a sudden you got these big blank spots. You're like, I got to fill this in. All right? My wife, she loves when I talk about her in these classes, by the way. She and I were talking this morning, and she says, I can't believe I didn't do this thing on Friday. She had to run to the bank for her mom. She says, Friday I had all the time in the world, and Monday I had no appointments. And I figured I would just do it Monday. She says, now I have 4 appointments that I set over the weekend, and I have no time to go to the bank. So I'm getting ready, and I turn, I'm like, really? Right? And she's like, don't start with me today, right? And the thing about it is when you have the time to do something, that's when you do it. Don't save it, because life has a way of getting right and you another thing to do. Okay, so we're enough on scheduling, enough on time management. Scripts and role play. What do we know about scripts? They work. Why?
Because people have been doing them for years.
Because they're proven,
Yeah.
right? And there's a book that I read years ago, and every now and again I'll read it. It's called The Science of Getting Rich. All right, and in the book, what it talks about is if one person succeeded by doing this way, then it works. Okay, and the science of getting rich is the science of success. The bottom line, it's the way we do things. It's having a certain way of doing something. Okay, and what a script does is it creates a roadmap for you. That if you read this script, now, if you read a script like, hello, this is, fill in blank, Vance with, okay, are you going to be successful? No. Okay. Have you ever seen a bad movie? What makes a bad movie different from a good movie, from like a Scorsese movie or a Quentin Tarantino movie? The scripts, right? And even more so, the dialogue, the way it's presented. Have you seen two actors kind of stand toe-to-toe with each other, and one is a trained actor who can actually read that script and the words come off the page and you're like, damn, right? And the other one just kind of sits there and kind of muddles through it. Your job is to be the best actor in the room. Okay, and everyone goes, no, I want to be authentic. I didn't tell you to be fake. I'm telling you to be authentic in yourself, but present and deliver your message. Okay, the best way to deliver a message is to have it scripted. All right, every morning I sit down and I make bullet points as to what I'm going to talk about on our check-ins. All right, and you guys see me, I'm like bouncing all over the place and I'm reading off my bullet points and making sure I'm hitting everything, because I don't want a moment of the time that we spend on that and those calls to go to waste. And the worst thing in the world, has anybody ever finished an argument, been driving away and went, oh, if I just said, right, I wish I... That's what scripts do for you. They give you that opportunity to make sure all your points are hit. Okay? Now, what I get when we hand out scripts is everybody reads them and they say what?
I don't talk like this.
I don't talk like this. I don't sound like this. You're right. You know why? Because you're not selling 100 houses. And if you were selling 100 houses, you'd read these scripts and be like, yeah, that works. Okay? Jillian, you've done a tremendous amount of script work with your focus. So you're like, my God, this came right out of their head. And then there's other people that you read scripts with and you're like, yeah, you should practice a little more before you get on this phone call, right? What we're going to do today is I'm going to hand out some scripts. We're going to go through them. We're going to pair up. We're going to keep changing. We're going to read through the scripts. Yeah, this is role playing, folks. This is real estate. Last week, we put you on the phones, gave you a script, and you know what? We had 20 people in the room. 20 people started the class at 10 a.m. By noon, I ended with 13. Now, I'll start a class today with 15 or 16 people, and we'll end with 15 or 16 people when I'm just doing presentation work. The minute I get you involved and say, okay, now you need to do something, everybody starts doing this. I just got this thing, okay? It's all fun and games to come and see somebody speak, but you have to put this to work. Okay, you've got to put this to work and you've got to get to work. All right? Right now we've got 4, 8, 12, 16. Look at that, 17 people in the room with one escrow. We are a real estate office. We are real estate agents. We're realtors. How many escrows should we have in this room? 17, 35, 50, right? Everybody should be checking their phones. We should be blowing up right now. I can't even bring my phone into these classes. I used to leave it on the desk and it would just vibrate around the desk. Now I leave it in my office, okay? And the only way to get busier is to work harder, okay? But even more so, and this is something my wife talks about, work smarter. Take the time that we're putting in and make it valuable, all right? So I'm going to hand out these presentations. Now, everybody always asks me, do we have a script? You know, they come to phone clinic and they go, well, I would call, but I don't have a script, okay? Here's a script for everything. In fact, what I did is I took the original Kevin Ward Yes Masters book and copied it into PowerPoint. And you guys have the exact book that he built his entire coaching career on in front of you. Folks, it's like 10 pages long. It's 10 pages long. Now, the idea behind the script is to memorize, internalize, and personalize. Okay? What I mean by that is memorize it as words on a page. Do we need more? Memorize it as words on a page. Internalize it. Internalize it as you can start and stop from anywhere within your presentation, and then personalize it, make it your own. Okay? Is it okay to change some words here and there as you go? Sure. Okay? Not in the beginning. You got to memorize it word for word. You got to memorize it for what it is. But as you internalize this thing and start to personalize it and make it your own script, yeah, there's going to be things that you want to change. Do you want to change the overall dynamic of the script? No. Leave that intact. Give that the context that it deserves and give it the respect that it deserves. But in time, you can actually sit there and kind of review things. So, real quick, Arian, just give me the first slide here. When you're role-playing, you stand up, you smile big. Your role. We practice and we make perfect, right? Actually, we practice and we make permanent. Okay? Practice makes permanent. If you practice something incorrectly, you don't make it perfect. You just get really good at doing it incorrectly. Okay? So remember, practice makes permanent. When we role play in here, we role play positive situations. Okay? Hi, are you interested in selling your home today? Yes, says your role play partner. Not no. All right? And then you're like, oh, but okay, we're not talking about rebuttals. We're not talking about handling objections. What we're talking about is going through the scripts. All right? The idea behind when you role play a script, when you role play it in a positive manner, what you're doing is you're setting in motion in your own head the expectation of positive response. Okay? So when you sit down on the phone or you're sitting in front of somebody and you start talking to them, you're practicing expecting them to say what? Yes. Yes. If every time my role play partner said no to me and then I got on the phone, what am I expecting the client to say? No. Okay? Expect the yes. Be surprised by the no. Okay? So when you role play, you're going to role play in a positive manner. Yes. Next question. Yes. When do you plan on moving? Never. Okay? Probably within the next 3 to 6 months. Really? 3 to 6 months? Well, did you know that, and now you can go into your script like that, and you can follow things through. We're going to work on objections in another class, and that gets real fun, all right, on how to handle objections, how to overcome objections. But we got to walk before we run, right? We got to crawl before we walk, and this is the first step to scripts. So stand up. Everybody stands up. Nobody's going to, not yet. Okay. I love a couple of people who are like, what? Stand up. Let's do this. Right? I'm like, yes, that's what we want. Other people are like, oh my God, stand up. Yes. All right, folks, I've been standing for 45 minutes, and I'm not tired. I was telling Mehdi this morning, I walked in, I'm like bouncing off the walls, and he's like, wow, man. I said, no caffeine yet. All right, no caffeine. Last caffeine I had was 5 o'clock last night. I had an iced tea, and I drank it, and I was like, oh no. I may be up all night, right? And my wife's like, nah, you'll be all right. So I chased it with like 4 more waters. Speak with confidence. Okay? What color are all your shoes? What color are your shoes?
Black.
Black. Okay. So when you're talking to somebody, do you know the color of your shoes? No. Okay, so where should your eyes be at all times?
Their eyes.
Eye to eye. Okay? Period. And that's just the way it works. When I see, imagine if I walked up here and I was like, so, you know, you should speak with confidence. You know, it's the way, you know, people respond better when you're confident. And I think, you know, it'd just be weird if you didn't. What am I immediately creating? An uncomfortable situation that you want to get out of, right? Like, ooh, I got to get away from this guy. Okay, my shoes are brown. I know that. Okay, and I ask that question to people all the time. What color are your shoes? You know, black and white with red stripes. Okay, great. You really got it down, okay? So stop looking at them when you're talking to people. Or when you knock on somebody's door to door knock. You don't knock on the door, back up, and look at your shoes. Okay, and I've seen this 100 times out door knocking with you guys. So speak with confidence. Be energetic. Is it okay to kind of have a bounce in your step and a light in your eye? Yeah, that's what people want to deal with, okay? Do they want to deal with the guy or the girl who's kind of slumped over with bad posture and angry about being there? No. They want energy. They want to know that this person can get the job done, okay? Be conversational. Conversational is like this. I've set a goal to help at least blank people this year who are either going to be buying, selling, and, okay, that's reading a script. That's boring. You're going to get hung up on. You're going to be very disappointed very quickly in your life, in your career, and your business choice. I've set a goal to help at least 12 people this year who are either going to be buying, selling, or investing in real estate. And I was wondering who you've talked to recently that's looking to buy, sell, or invest. Okay? Same script. It's just being conversational with it. Are you going to be able to do it at that level right away? You should, because I just read it. Right? Read it and go, okay, I got that. And now present it. Is it something that you work on? Absolutely. Do you stand in front of your mirror at home and read these scripts to yourself?
Yes.
I do. Okay? I do. I come home and doing presentations, full-blown room presentations in an empty room in front of a mirror. Okay? And then when she does them, people go, oh my God, you're so good at that. Well, yeah. Okay? I've practiced it. That's the fun of this business. All right, I tell my assistant all the time when she's doing stuff for me, like, a lot of the stuff I'm going to ask you to do doesn't feel like work. It is. All right? Practicing your scripts can be the hardest you work for the day. Because you're going to practice for how long? Hour, 2, 3, 4 hours. How many times do you get to speak to a client? Once or twice? You want to be able to deliver that thing like a rock star. Okay? Like a rock star. Mehdi, you sat through a situation this morning where we were talking with a client, right?
Right.
That is a practiced presentation on just how I work and how I negotiate through the client. She answered the phone one way. By the end, 15 minutes later, we were supposed to write a counter and counter for some ridiculous things. And after 15 minutes on the phone, we opened escrow this morning. Right? Do you really want to counter and put us in a situation that this deal may not happen over $700, or do you want to open escrow and move on to your next deal? And she was like, damn, let's do that. Okay? And the funny thing is, I asked her a couple different things. She goes, well, let's do that. I'm like, which one was that? Right? So we had to go back and clarify. I'm like, so you want to sign this right now? It's like, yeah, we'll do that one. Okay, great. Okay? So be energetic, be conversational, be interested. When you ask a question, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for the answer, or are you waiting for the opportunity to speak again? Most people ask questions waiting for the opportunity to speak again. If you ask a question and wait for that answer and get it and digest it, the number one way you digest an answer is you repeat and affirm. Okay? So you said you want to move to Hermosa Beach, closer to the sand. That's a great idea. Okay? You want to downsize to a 2-bedroom from your 6-bedroom house up in PV. I don't blame you. It's just you and the 4 cats. Okay? Repeat and affirm. Mirror and match. This can get you in trouble, or this can create a very good opportunity for you. Okay? Mirror and matching comes in 2 ways. Number 1, it's in body language. All right, if your client is standing and you're in a situation that you're in front of them, you better stand up. If they're sitting and you're standing, you're not mirror and matching. All of a sudden, I'm like, so Martin, we're going to do this, right? He's like, hey, dude, relax, okay? A little personal space here, okay? But if I grab a chair and I pull it up to him and I said, Martin, we're going to make this happen, right? That's a mirror and match, okay? I've spent hours at Tony Robbins seminars where we've actually done like mirror and matching. We've put hands up and we've kind of done all that. I'm not telling you to do it like that. Make sure you are on level with somebody. It's also called getting into rapport, okay? Also, if somebody's fast, how do you want to speak? Fast. If they're speaking slow, how do you want to speak? Slow. If they're speaking in an accent, how do you want to speak? In your voice. Do not start trying to match people's accents, okay? Because you can very quickly get yourself in a weird situation, okay? In some vernaculars, people lose different wording and plurals and things like that. You don't want to get into that with people. Just speak to them naturally, but speak at their level and their tone. Okay, that alone is enough mirror and matching. If I'm trying to get into your accent, I can very quickly be accused of making fun of you. Okay? Even if you're good at accents, you don't want to start falling into English accents or, different, like, oh, I understand. No, just leave it alone. Speak in your verbiage, but just mirror and match in the pacing that you work with. If somebody uses their hands, use your hands. If somebody's got their hands in their pockets, put your hands in your pockets. But then take one out and start seeing who gains control. All right? We'll do a whole thing on handshaking and things like that. I've done it before where we actually, real quick, Martin, stand up. If you're going to meet somebody, now I'm a big germaphobe, and most of the time you see me do things like, hey, how's it going? All right. That's not exactly the way you want to meet your clients. Like, hey! Okay? You're probably going to want to handshake them. All right? Ladies, take very close attention. Okay? See my hand? Where the finger goes? Martin cannot squish my hand. Okay? Ladies, this is how you handle not getting your hand squished. If I shake his hand like this, I'm a dead man. Okay? I mean, you can just kill me. Yeah. Okay? The minute I grab you, I go deep into his thumb and I put my finger right there. And now it's just a firm handshake. We're good to go. Okay? Very easy, simple thing like that. There's another thing where we shake hands and now you'll see people go like, how's it going? Right? And they give you the twist, right? And it's like, all right, yeah, you're dominant, whatever. I'm going to kick your ass in a minute, okay? But there's a whole thing behind who kind of goes on top, and then you get some people like, hey, buddy, and they come down on you, right? And that, all right, it's all a dominance situation. Understand what people are doing, and just by knowing how people are trying to present dominance gives you the dominance in the relationship. Okay? Because what is somebody who needs dominance, right? What are they really lacking? Confidence. Okay, so if they're like trying to squish, and I get guys who do this all the time, like, it's like, all right, easy, okay, But with that they're looking to be in control. So now anything when I'm talking with them, any way that I talk with them, I have to do what? Create a situation that it makes it feel like they made the decision. So we answer the questions with, so what do you think? How do you feel about that? Moving forward, what do you think would be the best decision to make?
That's exactly what we did this morning.
Right. Yeah. And I had a situation, all right, and it was definitely it was definitely a situation we had to handle very, very lightly. But you ask, and now they're like, oh, well, if it's up to me, then I want to do it this way. That's a great idea. Let's do that. Okay? And now they just move right through. Okay? And then the last and final, Practice, practice, practice. Okay, I've probably said 100 times, I'm doing a show this Friday at St. Roch. We go on at 8:30. It's a Jimi Hendrix thing. By all means, anybody who's in town, come on out and see it. We have practiced for this show for 7 weeks. Okay, 4 hours a day. Once a week. But it's a 45-minute set. All right, I'm going to play for 45 minutes, and I've put probably no less than 35 to 40 hours of practice into it. All right? You guys can expect a pretty solid performance. I am doing this. I am practicing, so I don't walk up there and do what? I don't want to look like a fool, okay? Just like when you are sitting in front of a client, you don't want to look like a fool and not know what to say. You're given everything you need now to go out and be successful. These scripts come from agents that are closing over 100 deals a year. How many deals do you want to close this year?
Me?
Yeah.
10.
10. Piece of cake. Master these scripts. You're good to go. All right. Now the next step is how many people am I going to get in front of that I can actually use these scripts on? And that's where it comes down to getting into phone clinics, coming to phone clinics that aren't scheduled, right? Every Monday and every Wednesday we have a phone clinic, right? You know how many people we had in Wednesday's phone clinic? 3? That would have been awesome. I was here alone. And then somebody walked in and they stuck their head in my office and said, "Is today phone clinic?" I said, "Yeah, go make phone calls." No, where is everybody? I said, "What does it matter?" Okay, and they're like, "Oh, okay." And you know what they did? They left. Because I was there making phone calls. Okay? Practice, 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 and then perform. Okay? You practice 36 hours to perform for an hour. The difference is after that hour is done, people take notice. Okay? You practice your listing presentation over and 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 over. Did I say it enough yet, Jillian? Or
One more day left.
okay, so over and over and over to present it to somebody that you expect what? The yes. And how much are you going to make on that listing? $25,000, $50,000, $75,000? Was it worth practicing? Absolutely. Folks, there are actors that will practice scripts for months to make $20,000 to be in a movie. All right, I'm telling you, practice these scripts. Once you know them, you're going to know them forever. And you're going to use them over and over and over and over and over again. And every time you use them, you're putting yourself in the line to make $10, $12, $20, $50, $100,000. Right? You'll easily make more than most actors will ever make in their life for doing what they have promoted their entire life to, learning how to use scripts. Have I made myself clear? Okay. So there's about 16 or 17 of us. Everybody pair up, stand up. The first script we're going to use is the first one on the page. So personal script, personal circle script. What I want you guys to do is go through each one to the first 8, okay, number 8. Do it 3 times a piece, okay? So Martin, you go 3 times. Veronica, you go 3 times, okay? Once each of you have done it 3 times each, raise your hand and we'll pick another script.
Wait, just number 8?
Yeah, just to number 8.
Through the whole script
Yeah,
up to number 8.
up to number 8, okay? But now, before you start, before everybody just jumps on it, read it to yourself, okay? Just take a minute and read the script, Okay, understand what you're going to say. Understand exactly what this is all about. Take it in. Okay? Then, when you're ready, look at your partner and say, okay, I'm ready. Let's do this. Do it at your normal pace. Okay, we're going to be in a big room. There's going to be loud. Okay, everybody doesn't need to speak over each other. Just speak to one another. If you got to get a little closer to hear each other, that's fine. Okay? We're going to work on this on different levels. But the first and most important thing is that you know what you're saying, okay? This is your personal circle script, and very simply it says, "Hi, Veronica. This is Vance Mizzi at West Shores Realty. How are you?" Great. Now, Veronica would say, "I'm wonderful." And I'd say, "Wonderful. Great. Veronica, the reason I'm calling today is because I need your help. Do you have a quick minute?"
Sure.
Fantastic. I've set a goal to help at least 12 people this year who are either going to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And I was wondering who you've talked to recently that's looking to buy a home, sell a property, or invest in real estate in the next month or so that I can help 12 people. I appreciate you thinking about it. Have you bumped into anyone at work? Now, what is Veronica going to say? I can't think of anybody. Well, I appreciate you thinking about that. Have you bumped into anyone at work or in the neighborhood, any family members or a church that might need my help? Well, yeah, maybe one person. Fantastic. What would be the best way for me to contact them? Text. My friends work by text. Awesome. Thank you. I'll give them a quick call and introduce myself to them and see what I can do to help. Is there anyone else you can think of? No, not right now. Fantastic. So when do you think you might be ready to make a move or invest in real estate yourself? Ever. I don't know. Maybe next month. Next month, we'll talk then. Great. Thanks. Click. Now, I didn't realize this is a phone script. So we can change things a little bit. Do you get to see somebody when you're on the phone with them? No. So turn around and go back to back. Communicate with what? Our words, our body language, and our eyes. On the phone, what do we get to communicate with? Our words, our voice. That's it. So in this, you're gonna learn to communicate only with your voice. And the funny thing is, people are going to be doing this. Hi, Veronica. This is Vance, and the other person's going to be looking over their shoulder, trying to make. It's human nature. Okay, so everybody. Read through it first, looking at each other, and then turn back to back and do your phone script back to back. 3 times each.
Okay. Hi, Aria. This is Rihanna at West Shore.
Okay. Do you want me to start?
Hey, what's up, man?
So this is,
Now you just gotta pick up the phone. When you sign that contract, they sign it out for signatures.
We're back on. Huh. Huh. Started out with more people. Work? Work? You lived. Nothing happened. Right? In fact, getting you guys to do it was kind of like push, push, push. I tried to stop you 5 minutes ago. I couldn't even get anyone's attention. Right? Why? Because once you start into the role and getting things going, you're like, wow, I'm digging this. Let's do more of this. Right? What is the hardest phone call to make of the day? First one. What is the hardest time that you'll ever spend role playing or anything? That first time you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. But after you do it, you're like, okay, I got this. All right, let's do another. Let's do another. So it's continuing on that path. All right, folks, I'd urge you at this point, start looking for partners to partner up with, and come to these phone clinics, come to these Shark Academies a couple minutes early and run through your scripts. All right, Jillian stepped out for a minute, but she's in a different coaching program, and they run scripts every day. All right, her and her other coaching compatriots or clients of the system get on the phone and they role play for like an hour a day, every day. All right, and they do situations like, if you don't show up, you owe me $500. So you think people start showing up to role play? Hell yeah. So Lisa, you had the opportunity to actually role play with Jillian. She's pretty good, right? Got it down. But why? Jillian, how many hours have you role played those scripts?
Oh my god.
Like
Every 5 days a week.
1 hour a day, right? 5 days a week.
For the last year.
5 days a week, 1 hour a day, 5 days a week for the past year. Okay? You guys just did 5-10 minutes. And I bet you feel more confident with the script now than you did the first time you read it. All right, imagine 6, 10, 8 weeks ago from now, or let's say 93 days from now, if all you do is role play for the next 93 days. Where am I getting my 93 days from?
70 days we have left.
It's the remainder of the 100-day challenge, okay? If all you do is that, how much better are you going to be? Okay, and that's really, it's about creating a forward movement, a forward momentum within your business. That my wife talks about this all the time, that exercising is cumulative. Okay, it's not a matter of doing 5,000 push-ups today and getting up and be like, now I'm pumped. Okay, it's about doing 100 every day. Okay, because if you do 5,000 push-ups in a day, what do you wind up with?
You can't move.
Back pain. Okay, all right. If you do 100 a day for the next 50 days, what do you end up with?
Muscle.
Results. Okay, so it's constant, it's cumulative result driven actions. So we're going to pick another script and we're going to do it again. How does everybody feel about the phone? Now here's back to back, right? By the end of the time, okay, it came up. Sherry was like this, right? Both of them, and Marco was looking the other way, right? Trying to get. We look for the eye contact. A couple of you.
That's just because I couldn't hear.
Well,
Like we had to.
yeah. But again, on the phone, can people hear everything that you say?
That's true,
No. Right? It's actually a real learning situation of doing phone scripts back to back like that. There's really a lot to do with that. But does the phone transfer your voice inflections very well? No, right? That's why they came up with FaceTime. They start FaceTiming people. That's just weird, okay? So don't do that. Yeah, as long as you know them. If some unknown number is FaceTime you, you're like, oh, let's see what this guy's up to. No, you're not going to do it, all right? But yeah, in time, FaceTime, it's fantastic, all right? My mom loves it when she's talking to the grandkids, and not my kids, my sister's kids. But the idea is, people want to have as much interaction with you as possible. Okay, and it's up to you to actually bring that to them. And if you can bring your words alive off the page through a phone, you're electric. All right, and not everybody will be able to do that. Okay, but here's the bottom. Here's the end result. It's up to you if you can. Because if you can do it, you're the one who benefits. Okay, and if you can't, why can't you? Bottom line is, if you can't do it, you haven't practiced it enough, or you don't believe in what you're doing. Because if you believe in what you're doing, you will practice it. And if you practice it, you will get really good at it. And when you get really good at it, people take notice. Period. And that goes for anything. Art, music, exercise. When you're really good at something, people are like, wow, you got this. Okay, can you help me? All right. right? Because what's the name of the game? Is creating interest in yourself that people then say, you know what, I want to work with that person. Okay, I think I can benefit by spending time with this individual. Or even better yet, do you have a pen? Because I'd like to sign a contract with you that says you represent me. And that's when you grab your pen, and hopefully it's a nice one, and you hand it to them. You say, press hard, lots of copies, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Let's go to work. We're going to talk about the expired script now. Yes, ma'am.
If they're not answering the call, there's answering machine most of the time. So do you leave any particular message?
That is up to you whether or not you leave a message. The question is, if somebody calls and if you call and you get an answering machine, do you leave a message? There's two schools of thought to that. Number one is you leave a message everywhere that you call. Okay, if you're going to do that, understand people are going to call you back. Okay, they're either going to call you back and say, don't ever call me again. All right, which you get a lot of those phone calls when it's like, oh my God, now every time my phone rings, it's someone yelling at me, okay? If you got thick enough skin, then you look for the people who call back, and Martin leaves me a message. He says, hi, this is Martin, I'm over at West Shores Realty. I know your house just was for sale and it didn't sell. I'd like to help you sell it, give me a call back. Okay, so I call Martin back and I say what? Hi, Martin. This is Vance Mizzi. I own the house over at 232 Primrose Lane in Manhattan Beach. It was for sale but didn't sell. You left me a message. Can we talk about that? Or do I call him back and say, hi, Martin, it's Vance Mizzi. You left me a message. What do you want?
Probably that one.
All right, now Martin's got to figure out who Vance Mizzi is. And now he says, where do you live? And I said, you left me the message. Right, and now it becomes a confrontational situation. What I do when I'm leaving messages is I call out of my Google voice, and I have a separate line that I cold call from through Google Voice. I have a message on there. It says, hi, this is Vance Mizzi with West Shores Realty. Please leave me your name, number, and property you're calling about, and I will be happy to call you back at my earliest convenience. Now, if Martin calls me back, I call back and I say, hey, Martin, it's Vance Mizzi. You called me. Call me back. Number one, I can listen to that voice message and say, okay, Vance Mizzi. Go to my database, punch in the name, see it, see the property, see everything about it, and then I can call Martin back, educated. Okay, or if he calls me and says, you know, if I call and I say this is 232 Primrose Lane, call me back. I then know, and I'm calling him up and I say, hey, called you about your property, and I know how to talk to them. What you don't want to do is leave messages where people return the call and you're taken off guard. Okay, and now I know every time my phone rings and it's my Google Voice line, I'm like, yes. Okay, someone's calling me back.
But what if you are taken off guard? How would you answer it?
Oh, you know what? I left a message for a few people today. Which property exactly is yours? And they say, the one in Manhattan Beach. I know. I called like 3 or 4 people in Manhattan Beach today. Which property was it? The one on Melrose, or on Wilmington. Oh, great. Okay. Well, you know what? Now, do I have to know anything about that property? An initial conversation? No. I know it was for sale, it didn't sell, and now you want to sell it again because you're calling me back. So I can say, I understand it was for sale, it didn't sell. That's strange. I saw that property, it should have sold. Why do you think it didn't sell? And now I can go into my follow-up script on that. And what do you think the number one reason is? Oh, we were overpriced. No. The agent. All right. I have a friend who has a script that says, your home left the market unsold. Do you think it was the agent that was at fault as to why your property didn't sell? I'm like, dude, that's rough, right? And he's like, oh, I know. He goes, but people answer. You know, now I've tried that script before, and you get things like, "No, the agent's my mom." I'm like, I'm sure she's a sweet lady. You know, like this isn't going well already. So this script is very vanilla. Okay, it's very kind of just, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to work it. And it says now. Oh, Alex is raising her hand. Yes, ma'am.
There's a white Lexus and an Audi.
A white Lexus and an Audi.
I'll take the Audi.
There are some open parking too.
Anyone with an Audi? No Audis here. The number one way that people call expireds is they go into the MLS or they go into a service and they pull all the expireds. Okay? Not a bad way to do it. Okay? But it's a good way to get shut down very quickly because you're mass marketing to expireds that you have no understanding of the market. Okay? You call expireds. Jillian calls expireds. What's the number one answer you get from expireds? They change their mind. Or how's this one? Bring me a buyer. Right? Bring me a buyer, I'll talk to you. Okay. Who in here is working with buyers or has buyers from open houses? Do you know what the buyer is looking for?
Yeah.
What is it?
West Torrance, up to 800,000, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. That's really our only.
Okay.
Yeah.
How would you feel about having 2 or 3 listings in West Torrance?
Fantastic.
You'd feel pretty good, right? Okay. So how's this strategy for you? Take a buyer that you're working with, type in their criteria into the MLS, search expireds up to 5 years ago, and pull all of those expireds. Now when you're calling on them, you're using this script, and when they say, do you have a buyer? You say, as a matter of fact, I might. In fact, I'm calling you because your property fits the criteria on for one of the buyers that I'm looking for, and they very well may be interested in buying this home. When do you think you and I can get together and talk about showing it to my buyer? Gives you a lot more validity, right? When people are, bring me a buyer and I'll sell it. Fantastic. So you're interested in selling your house. Right? I can teach you different ways around it, but I'm telling you that is the easiest way to get in front of expireds today and impress your buyers. Because what happens if you get that listing with an expired? What are you setting for?
Double close.
Double close. So $800,000. How much is that worth?
Oh.
20.
About $20,000. Okay. How much is it worth if you double side it? 40. Okay. Which one is more interesting to you, and who wants to make that phone call? Okay. And it's as simple as taking a look. Yes, sir.
I got a question about that situation. So what if you do that and you you tell your buyer, hey, this is an expired listing, but let's go take a look at it because nobody else is going to be looking at it, and then you list it, and then you get a higher offer, and they don't take your buyer's offer. What's the conversation you have with your buyer when they're like, hey, I thought we had this. I was the only one looking at it, blah, 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 blah. You get what I'm saying?
Well, everything but the blah, 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 blah. I lost you there. No, I'm kidding. The way you work a expired listing like that, what you'll do is you'll take a single party listing agreement to show your buyer.
Yeah.
Okay, and you say, okay, if my buyer likes it, we'll go from there. Okay. If they don't like it, then you go back and you say, Veronica, they looked at the house, backyard was a little too small for them, but this house can and should be sold. Now, I know you want to sell it, so let's put it back on the market. Let me get it sold for you, open market. And then you list it to the public. Sometimes Veronica's going to say up front, she's like, yeah, let's list it. And now you turn around and say, I'm not calling my buyer now and saying, I have an expired listing that nobody else saw. I say, hey, Martin, I just listed a property that fits exactly what you need to see. You need to come see this thing immediately because tomorrow it goes on Brokers Open and it's going to get hot. Okay, now they're like, oh, this guy's a mover, okay? What are the chances of your buyer buying your listing? 50-50, right? They're either going to like it or they're not, okay? If they like it, great. If they don't, you market it to the public. But the bottom line is they immediately feel like they had a little bit of an inside scoop to it, all right? And that's, that's our fiduciary duty. That's our job as an agent, is to bring this stuff to our clients. And some people say, well, I don't like to double side deals. Okay, if you don't want to double side your deal, call me, and I will happily represent your buyer and give you back a commission on it. You fool. Okay, because if you don't want to represent a buyer and a seller in their own deal, folks, our job is to sell. Our job is to sell, not market. Okay, I had a client a couple of years ago. I brought 3 offers that I wrote. I had 3 competing offers on the same house. She says, well, shouldn't I outside more like that's the one instead of the ones that you represent? I said, why would you do that? She goes, well, don't you have a vested interest in getting your buyers in here? I said, my vested interest is getting your home sold. You hired me to sell your home. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't look for buyers for you. And she said, oh, okay. All right, we wound up getting $100,000 over asking through one of them. And she came back and asked me to do what?
Find her a home.
Will you cut your double-sided it? Like, I got you $100,000 more than what you asked, and you're coming after $8,000 on my side. Isn't that awesome? That is the world we live in.
What'd you tell her?
No. So.
Ben, I have a question now. Let's say, just recapping what you said. Let's say the seller, he said, okay, bring your buyer if you have a buyer. And if you do, how do you guarantee yourself that you have
you write a single party listing agreement.
Single party, and you represent them. And then if they don't like it, then you try to get the listing. That's
Yeah.
what you're
Then you go back and say, now that you want to sell the house. Here's the thing, folks. Why do people list homes? They want to move. When a home expires, what happens? They're frustrated. Dreams get dashed. Okay? Arguments occur. Okay? Plans have to change. And now you come back a year or 2 years later and I say, hey, Martin, remember that house that you wanted to sell? And they're like, oh, yeah. Would you like to sell it right now? If I can get you top dollar for it right now, would you be interested in selling? And Martin says, yeah. Okay, great. Sign here. I'll bring you a buyer tomorrow. Let's see if we can put a deal together. When Martin goes to sleep, what is he immediately doing? He's moving. He's spending the money. He's already spent 3 hours on Zillow taking a look where the money's going, what he's buying next. Now the buyer walks in and goes, the backyard's too small. And they leave. Martin's like, I had him right there, right? I got to sell this place. Now he wants to sell again. He might not have thought about selling for a year, 2 or 3 years, but all of a sudden it's right there in his mind. Now he wants to do it. That's when they're most likely to list again. Okay, because that's when you can turn on your charm and your marketing ability and say, this is how do we market, do we list, or do we sell homes? We sell homes. Okay? This is how this is how I'm going to sell your home. This is how I'm going to market your home. That's what the last agent did. All right, you know what's different between me and every other agent you work with? They all have marketing plans. Right? Didn't your agent show you a marketing plan? I have a selling system. You know what the difference between me and them are? My houses sell. Theirs expired. How do I know? Because I'm sitting in front of you and they didn't get your house sold. I can say that with confidence, almost cocky. Right? Have I ever had a house expire? Yeah. Okay. But it was their fault, not mine. I promise you. No. But that's the difference. And when you start thinking in selling systems, this is how I get homes sold. Not I want to list your house. All right? I don't want to list my house. Do you want to list your house with me? No. No. I want to sell my house. And the minute you start speaking in that vernacular, the minute you start using that vernacular on how the words we use are as important as what we say. Okay? Because I want to list your house and I want to sell your house. Isn't it kind of the same thing? But the word I use has a totally different meaning. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, on the single property.
Are you getting tired? I'm only seeing a finger and you're not even raising your hand off the...
Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to ask this question.
Go ahead. Come on. Give it to me.
Single contract. Let's say you have a buyer and this guy is, okay, if you have a buyer, bring him over. Who's going to pay the commission at that point? The buyer?
The single party compensation agreement states that the seller is paying the commission because the seller always pays the commission.
So you put the whole percentage, like 5% or 2.5%?
Well, that's up to you how you want to negotiate
Because
that.
you're going to be like you have your own seller
Yeah.
and buyer, so you usually can go as high as 5 or
Sure. You can go as high as 10. You can do anything you want.
But usually you have the seller agree to it first, right?
Not usually. I will not bring a buyer to you unless we have in writing that you are agreeing to pay my commission.
So there's no situation, let's say if this is like in, for
I thought you were just
example,
going to ask one question.
So in commercial properties, I heard sometimes.
We're not talking about commercial properties.
They don't, okay.
We're talking about single family, condos, residential properties.
Okay.
Commercial is a whole different animal. And folks, if you actually think that you're going to mix the two up, you're going to get mixed up. Okay? And you can do commercial, but you better get yourself locked in with a commercial agent who's going to help you and show you the ropes, because commercial is a different animal. And commercial agents eat their young. Okay? Residential agents, they just kind of smack them around. Okay? Commercial agents actually eat them. Okay? So, real quick. Hi, is this Martin?
Yes.
Hi, Martin. My name is Vance Mizzi. I'm a local real estate agent, and I was calling about your house for sale. I guess you're aware by now that on the MLS it's showing your home is off market.
Yeah, I am aware of that.
Martin, I was wondering, when are you going to interview agents again for the job of actually getting it sold?
I'm not sure. Kind of just taking a step back and seeing. Probably might give it a month or two.
A month or two. Okay, fantastic. If your property had sold, where are you going to go next?
I don't know. We were thinking about Vegas.
Vegas. Wow, fantastic. So what was bringing you there?
Cheap houses.
Cheap houses. Okay, fair enough. So how soon do you want to actually be in Vegas?
Not till probably. I mean, realistically, probably not till the middle of next year.
Middle of next year. Okay, so you got some time. Fantastic. So
Okay.
Martin, any idea what stopped it from selling this time?
Honestly, no. I just maybe marketing.
Marketing. Okay, really? Interesting. So how did you choose the last agent you had?
I was referred from a friend.
Referred from a friend. Makes a lot of sense. How do you feel about the job that agent did?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
So what do you think was
probably not
missing?
great.
What do you think was missing that kept it from your home from actually selling?
No idea.
You know what? You sound like most of my clients, a little frustrated. It sounds like you still do want to sell your property though, right?
Yes, very much so.
Fantastic. So if you could get it sold for top dollar in the next 30 days and get to Vegas, is that something that you'd still be excited about or interested in doing?
Absolutely.
Perfect. If I could help you make it happen, that'd be okay, right?
Of course.
So when would it be the best time that you and I can get together, Take a look at how we can make that happen. How about Wednesday at 4:15 or Thursday around the same time?
Wednesday at 4:15 will work.
Wednesday at 4:15. I'll see you then. Okay? Whenever you're setting a calendar, a schedule, you always want to give an either or. Will Monday or Tuesday work? Not, how's Monday? Yeah, Monday doesn't work. How's Tuesday? No, Tuesday doesn't work. How's Wednesday? No, Wednesday doesn't work. You know what? How about I call you when my calendar frees up? Okay? What I usually start out with was, usually I do my appointments in like early afternoon or evening. Which is better for you? And they'll say, oh, early afternoon would be great. Great. What days work best for you then? Well, Tuesdays I'm off. Great. Tuesday early afternoon, early evening. What time is that for you? Like 4:30? Yeah, that works. Okay, great. I'll see you then. Okay, very simple, very conversational, just moving right in. That's what I say about, is it okay to change the words? And am I saying the same thing? Yeah. All right, I'm just making it a little bit easier for me to kind of digest and get through. All right, so we have 15 minutes. Let's run through this script twice a piece, well, 2 times a piece, and then sit back down and we'll review one more time. All right, again, this is a phone script, so how are we going to do it? Back to back.
Side to side. Okay.
And I ask who's ready to be a coach, because it's always funny halfway through scripting you're like, you know what you should say? Yeah. Keep your comments to yourself, right? But no, it's it's very easy to tell other people how they can improve, all right? And again, I'll bring up my wife for the last time today. A couple years ago, she and I were talking about different situations that I come into in real estate. And I said, I'm going to start responding to my own questions the way I respond to my coaching clients. When I'm wondering how I should respond to a certain situation, I'm going to sit back and ask myself that question as a coach. And I'm going to respond that way. And because if we can step outside and actually give ourselves the advice we deserve, wouldn't it be great? Oh my God, here's a novel idea. Wouldn't it be amazing to follow your own advice? Who in this room could benefit a little bit from following what they tell other people to do? Okay, I'll raise my hand even a little higher on that, all right? So it's great to give each other pointers, but listen to what people are doing and think about your own pointers on how you're going to improve yourself. Okay, and think about that when you're sitting in front of the mirror and you're doing your script and you're stumbling and you're bumbling and you're umming and you're ahhing and you're stammering and you're looking at your shoes because you forgot they were brown today. And at that moment, take a step back and say, okay, how can I improve? How do I make it that much better? All right. You'll hear me very rarely say right? I just did it on purpose, by the way. But on videos, people, they talk and they look and they're like all nervous in the car and the hand is shaking and stuff. And the idea behind that is you got to learn to breathe. All right? When you're talking to people, how do you speak to people? Okay, how do you come up with ideas? Do you take a beat, as my coach tells me? It's his thing. He's always like, take a beat, relax, breathe for a second, now come back. If you're doing a video or you're talking to somebody and you take a breath and you go, well, that's a lot better than going, okay? It's the same thing, but you know what happens is when you stop and you go, well, you know what? And you start talking like that, it looks like you actually gave a damn about what you're going to say. As opposed to, what is that saying? I don't know. And I'm searching through the files in my brain like a maniac, right? Looking for the right thing to say, okay? Does that benefit anybody long term? No. Okay, it usually hurts us. So think about that when you're talking to people. On your scripts, what'd you think? Again, you made it out alive, right?
Lisa's killed it.
So Lisa, you getting ready? Are you ready to sell 232 Primrose Lane yet?
Yes, good.
Jillian and I come from the same school of script, and Primrose Lane is the used address, and it's usually 232. Is that what he's using?
It always was Primrose.
Yeah, I've always used 232 Primrose Lane. But the idea behind that stuff is, again, it's that idea of practicing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, Primrose Lane, folks, that comes off my tongue like natural. Okay, but I can put any street in there and just pull that out. All right, it becomes that interjectory word that you can use. Anybody got any feedback on doing scripts? What do you think? What do you feel about doing these? Oh, they give you a roadmap. Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So I always get really scared to call my sphere.
Yes.
After like Lisa and I are doing back to back, after I read it through 3 times, I was like, I'm ready to call my sphere. So I think it would be great if we like did role play and then calls.
Well,
That one specific.
that's one thing about what Jillian said is she thinks that we should do role play before calls. And phone clinic starts at 6 on Monday nights. There is nothing on the calendar that says you can't get here with a role play partner at 5:30 or 5 and role play. Okay? The reason I do that is I leave that up to you. I tell you to be here at 6, and when do you think most people start showing up? 6:15 to 6:30. All right, and they walk in, and normally they come in, they say to me, "Are you going to talk?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm going to say a couple words." "Okay, great." And they go and they sit down. I'm like, "Well, it's already 6:15. I was going to talk at 6, but I've been waiting for like 4 people to show up." All right? I would urge you guys, people, ladies and gentlemen, when you see something come on at 6 o'clock, be here at 5:30. Role play. Get yourselves together. At 6, we get rolling. You will see an amazing difference in your results. Okay? Shark Academy starts at 10 o'clock. When do most people start looking for parking out front? 10 o'clock, 9:45, right? "Sorry I'm late." There was no parking. Huh. Folks, there's 8 spots out there, okay? I can venture a guess that every day there's not going to be any parking unless you get here early. Don't get here too early and take my spot. All right? Yes, sir.
I have a question about something you mentioned earlier, getting expires off the MLS.
Yeah.
So the MLS doesn't give you the phone numbers. Who do you use to get the phone numbers?
I use a reverse directory called Spokeo.com, Spokeo.com. And even if you use a expired service, RedX is really good. What's the other one? What is it?
Is it
Landvoice? What is it? Mojo. There's a couple different expired services that you can use, and even through those, you can mine through those and just find towns. Again, folks, if you got a 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath buyer in Torrance, 800,000. Do you have a buyer for Torrance?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you can get real specific, or you can be real generalized. Okay, I got a buyer who's looking to buy in Torrance. Property fits most of their criteria. When can we sit down and talk about how we get your house sold? Now I go out, I sit down with you and say, I'll bring them by tomorrow. Or once I'm here, I go, oh wow, you know what? They're really looking for a 2-bedroom. This is much bigger. But I'm telling you what, this property should have sold last time. And now you go into your listing presentation. All right, this is how you make listing appointments. This is how you get in front of people. Okay, you're not lying to them. You got a buyer for Torrance. If you have one buyer in Torrance, how many buyers do you have? In fact, what happens at the office meetings, at our monthly office meetings? What do people do? They pitch listings, but what else do? They stand up and say, I need a house. I have a buyer looking for this. Are you writing those down and then calling expireds against those?
Is
Okay.
the script the same? I have a buyer, or my
Yeah,
company has a buyer?
I have a buyer. All right, yeah, my company's got a buyer. Well, I'm looking for a buyer for one of my fellow agents. I'm looking for a house for one of my fellow agents. She has a buyer that's looking for this. Okay, imagine how powerful that is when you guys start paying attention to the meeting and hearing what's going on, marketing within that meeting to other buyers and sellers. Imagine the power of the office, the company. Folks, we're 300 agents strong. All right? Post on West Shores Realty, the big site. What are your buyer needs in Torrance? I have a couple. I'm looking, I'm calling expireds in Torrance. What are your buyer needs? Maybe somebody responds. You use that. Okay, there's a million ways to find a buyer. There's only one way to find a seller, and that's to talk to them. Any buyer is up for grabs. I'm not trying to steal your buyer, but if you have a buyer who's looking, let me help you look. Because I want to sell them a house. The power of that is just unsurmountable. And folks, we're huge. We're over 300 agents strong and growing. By the day, everyone welcome Veronica. I think you're like 314. All right. But every day we add an agent to the roster. That's a whole nother career that you can benefit from having in the office. Okay? So you really need to see that in large form. Next Monday, we have the office meeting. So I would urge you all to, number one, if you have a buyer, stand up, tell them what you're looking for. Okay? If other people are, take note. Market to those. Okay? Take note of two things. The person who has the buyer and the buyer needs. Okay? And then talk to that agent and say, hey, I'm calling expireds, or I'm sending out letters, I'm doing this or that. I'll call you once I get something on that. That is a great way to benefit the whole office and you as an individual. Because the office benefits only when you do first. Okay, so our main objective is getting you in escrow. That's when the office makes money.